Welcome to Franklin Almanac. I'm Polikseni Manxhari. This is our 9th edition of Almanac, a compendium of life in Franklin. As always, we'll bring you important stories. What's happened, what's happening, what matters. Franklin is always moving up and changing for the better. This time is no different. On this episode, we discuss recent accomplishments, updates on important topics, and of course, the everyday of what's going on in town. The Franklin Legion Post 75 is dedicated to mentoring youth and sponsoring wholesome programs in the community. They have been known to visit local veterans' homes, rehabs, and assisted living spaces. They even began their own race to support our youth. The Legion recently held their 4th annual 5K, where runners came together to raise funds for scholarships. Their goal is to help students pay for college by awarding $500 to Medway, Tri-County, and Franklin High through money raised at the 5K. This event also helps the Legion fund various programs and help sponsor the Boys and Girls State, where students work with senators and state representatives to learn about politics. Our very own state representative, Jeff Roy, came in first place during the event. We spoke with organizers to learn more about this year's 5K. Let's have a look.
This is our 4th annual road race. It's set up so that we can raise money for scholarship funds for 3 students. This goes to $500 scholarship funds for a Medway High School student, a Franklin High School, and a Tri-County Technical High School student. Each year we give these scholarship money out, and we're hoping to keep it going one way or another. And we do it together. I'm from Medway, the Medway Post 367, and I do it in conjunction with the Franklin Post 75 here in town. Right now we're here in Franklin. The past 3 races have been in Medway. Hopefully we'll change the route up again because we like different races in nice, beautiful scenic areas. So hopefully if you see our signs, come and join us. Right now we're only going to do 1. We'd like to do maybe 2 a year per school, because the kids they're working so hard to get the money for college, and college costs are skyrocketing. So as much as we can help them, I think they're going to help the community again, and it all comes back around.
I love to meet the runners. They inspire me, though I haven't actually started to run myself. But I'm always really impressed with how fast they are and how and their determination to finish. Even we have people of all ages, the little ones, we have older folks, and they're all so dedicated to running and walking, and so it's very inspiring. And I think everybody's positive and in a good mood, and it's a lot of fun.
We know in this day and age how tough it is to get a college education, but the American Legion is there to support all of our students in the area, and I'm glad to be here to be a part of it.
The 5K walk and run brought together about 50 runners, and they are already preparing for year 5. If you are interested in volunteering or running, feel free to visit www.masspost75.com. In late June, Franklin announced they had exceeded the 10% housing threshold the state requires. So, what does that mean? Chapter 40B is a state law that was enacted in 1969, which is designed to encourage affordable housing in every city and town in the state. As part of that law, every community is required to have 10% of their housing stock deemed affordable by the state. If the minimum of 10% isn't reached, the town is susceptible to the state overriding local zoning to allow for more affordable housing. It also gives the developer an opportunity to file an application with the Commonwealth. For most towns, 40B means more units and more costs, which can sometimes break the fabric or character of the neighborhood. However, with this new accomplishment, the town can be more vocal when it comes to future housing projects. Deputy Town Administrator Jamie Helen tells us what it took to get here.
It's quite a controversial law. in a lot of ways, but it's something that undoubtedly has probably provided the most amount of affordable housing in eastern Massachusetts. So it's done a lot of good as well. 40B projects actually start at the Commonwealth level, at the state level.
Okay.
So when a developer or a builder puts in an application for a 40B, they actually file it with Mass Housing, with the state agency first, and then the town gets a copy of that application as well. So, we have not heard of any other applications that have been filed since, in the last week and a half since, since the announcement came out from the Commonwealth that we had gone over the 10% and that we were there. For right now, that should limit any proposals that actually come in going forward. Either until we go below that 10% threshold.
I know that we just exceeded the 10% and we are now at 11.89.
That's right.
So how did we get here, and is there a chance of it going down again?
Yeah. So those are two great questions. So in short, to your first question, how did we get here? Through really two different means. The first is certainly projects in town that people are probably familiar with, similar to the ones like Madeline Village or the Chestnut Street Apartments. Those 40Bs, through 40B projects, developers going to the state and overriding our local zoning has certainly unquestionably put forth quite a bit of units. And it's probably been a majority of the units that get us to that 10% have been through 40B projects. But the reason why we're over here at Eaton Place today is really the second part of that answer, which is the town through some of the older residents may remember the Franklin Housing Partnership. Residents today are probably familiar with the Franklin Municipal Affordable Housing Trust.
Yes.
Councilor Judy Pfeffer and 5 other members of the town are actually on that committee. And they do a lot of projects that fly under the radar to help us get to that 10%.
Got it.
And Eaton Place is 50 units. Most people here are familiar with this, which is senior housing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Affordable housing. It's a beautiful housing complex. The town is actually proactively now working on a second iteration of this behind of here.
Oh, great.
So maybe in another 3, 4, or 5 years, we'll be able to get a second building of affordable housing. So the town has been really proactive for many years in doing projects like this that help get the town to 10% as well. Eaton Place is not going to be the project that always is going to keep us over that 10%.
Right.
It's a little bit that helps us maintain
it.
To put this in context, if we didn't do these projects that I just mentioned, we wouldn't be over the 10%. Your second question, could we then go below it again?
Right.
Yes, we could.
Okay.
So we can't take the foot off the pedal. Right now, we can't speculate, but the census is coming up in a few years, really in 2020.
Okay.
It should be completed by 2025. During that census period, we'll get a new, fresh look at the housing stock of the town, and there'll be a new baseline set of data. And so then I think is at least one point in time where we'll look forward to see if maybe we've dropped a little lower or we could be a little bit higher.
Interesting.
In the past, Franklin has actually dipped below, gone above, dipped below, gone above. It's always been wrestling around that 10%
Does it occur often?
number.
Is it like
No,
yearly?
No. It's probably every 5, 6,
Oh,
7 years,
okay, that's
or
not bad.
even a longer tenure than that, 10 years. Sometimes it does every couple of years, depending on housing stock and the criteria at the state. You may actually bump a little bit below or a little bit over. So,
good to know.
So with the reinvestment of the 288 apartments down at Glen Meadow, there's a new owner coming in. He was able to get a no-interest loan from the Commonwealth itself to try to go down and rehabilitate some of those apartments, and that's why we went back again. That's why we got bumped back over, was because those Glen Meadow apartments were to come back onto the state list.
What does all of this mean for the town in the future? How does it benefit the town?
That's a great question. I think in a lot of communities, and certainly I'm sure there are some people in Franklin who would automatically just feel a sense of relief.
Sure, of course.
A lot of thought and time at the council, the planning board, and other board and committee, and the staff level, a lot of thought and time goes into zoning proposal changes. And, communities put zoning into place to try to chart their future, understand their growth projections, their finances, school children projections for the growth of the schools and for facilities. So communities put a lot of thought and time into their zoning. And the town being proactive for many years is something the town should feel very, very proud of.
Right.
The town staff should feel very proud of it, and the town council and a lot of the other folks that have supported a lot of these projects should feel very proud of it. So, you know, 40B, there's never really an end, right? You know, so we, again, like I said earlier, we can't really take the pedal, the foot off the pedal.
Got to keep working.
We got to keep working at it.
Yep.
And you know, these are hard projects to work on. You know, we expect the second building up here at Eaton Place to be on the other side. Probably take 4 or 5 years. The town owns the land, so we're going to give that over. And hopefully we'll have 60 or so new units of senior affordable housing here. Unfortunately, these projects do take a while to get through,
yeah, of
but
course.
you got to keep on inching away at it piece by piece, because before you know it, you're going to be at 10.1%. You're going to be right on the corner,
right on the edge.
So, you know, so I think that that's what really that speaks to me. You know, in the town is really how receptive and how proactive the town has been on working on this issue, which is not an easy issue to work on.
When it comes to controversial projects like Madeline Village, the housing threshold has no effect. The paperwork has been filed, so the units will continue to progress. During our 5th episode of Franklin Almanac, we shared information with you regarding the Spectra Northeast Pipeline, set to go through most of Massachusetts. The original $3.2 billion project had plans for a 3.5-mile, 30-inch wide pipeline that would run through Medway, Bellingham, and Franklin. The pipeline would serve around 60% of the New England power sector, but due to inconsistent energy policies and a lack of funding, the company had no choice but to stop the pipeline. That's right. In June, energy company Enbridge, formerly known as Spectra, announced they are suspending the Algonquin Pipeline for now. I spoke to State Representative Jeff Roy about the pros and cons of this project and its future. I know that Enbridge, the energy company, decided to suspend their efforts into getting the Algonquin Pipeline in because of funding. So what does that mean now for Franklin?
Well, you know, the pipeline itself was an area of controversy, and it came down to a couple of areas. Number one, the cost. The folks who were proposing the pipeline originally said it'll be about $3.2 billion.
Yes, that's what I've heard too, yes.
Well, some of the studies and analyses that have been done show that it's probably more in line with about $6.6 billion.
Wow.
So
Double
the cost
that amount.
was
Right.
definitely a factor. Then the issue of, well, who is going to pay for this
Right.
pipeline certainly came up. And there was a novel approach by the developers of the pipeline that wanted to pass the cost on to electric ratepayers.
Got it. Okay.
So the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court said that's unlawful.
Okay.
And current Massachusetts law does not allow them to pass on the cost to electric consumers. So now you've got a cost that's skyrocketed out of control, and you lack a mechanism to pay for it.
Right.
So you do the math, and
Right.
and you know, the pipeline comes apart. The second key component was the issue of need.
Okay.
Do we really need
Do we need this? Yeah.
natural gas
Right.
pipelines? And so this whole plan was based on the notion that we needed more natural gas
Right.
because we have coal-fired plants that are going offline.
Yep.
We have nuclear plants that are going offline, yet we still have truck engines that are having no problem getting started. But, you know, these power sources were going offline, so there was this belief that we had a need for natural gas.
Give us some of the pros and cons of the pipeline.
Well, number one, you know, it would address, hopefully, and I'm being an optimist when I say there are a lot of leaks that have been identified
That's true. Yeah, that's
in
been
natural gas
a big
throughout
issue.
Massachusetts.
Right.
And by putting in a new pipeline, the optimist in me says that they would have addressed those leaks along the way, because the pipeline was to run parallel with what was there.
In a similar area to this.
Exactly.
Nearby here.
What we're looking at all around us is where this pipeline was to go. So, yeah, they would have addressed the leaks. And why is the leaks important? Because, I'm told that a very high percentage of gas is lost due to these leaks, and if you can get the leaks under control, that's going to increase your natural gas availability. The other thing was it was going to allow more natural gas to come up from other states in the United States to get up here in the Massachusetts and New England area, because we need more natural gas. A lot of customers have switched from other fossil fuels, coal's offline, and people switch from oil to natural gas, so we need energy to fund those switchovers. And again, the notion was put out there that if we can get more natural gas here, we can get it here at a cheaper price, and that's going to lower the energy costs for everyone. Those are the pros that we heard over and over and over. And the cons that we heard consistently. And I will say there was a very vocal group here locally. Their advocacy was tenacious, and it was very educational. I mean, they didn't do it in an obnoxious way. They were very helpful, and I learned a lot by attending their programs and reading their materials. But the danger of natural gas can't be underscored. I mean, methane is a large cause of environmental pollution and hurts the ozone, and leaking gas is one of those things that you need to take care of. The explosive nature of this gas, it causes hazards there. And I think the other underlying con is that Massachusetts, like so many other states, is moving away from fossil fuels and looking at wind, looking at solar, looking at hydro and other sources of energy, and that I've heard it said that by the year 2023, we're not going to need as much natural gas. And if you compare the length of time it would have taken to build this pipeline with 2023, it seems that by the time that project was done, we were not going to need it.
I was reading a couple of articles that said that Enbridge is going to continue the process of trying to get the pipeline in 2018, depending on the policies. So is there still a chance that the pipeline could still go in?
Without question. I wouldn't rule it out. It doesn't look good right now, but I think they are looking for changes in energy policy, and I would suggest that one of the big changes that they're going to look for is how to pay for this pipeline. Are they going to be able to get Massachusetts law changed so that they can pass on this bill to the consumer? So I think that's a policy change that they would be looking for. That's not something that I'm in support of, because again, I go back to the question: if this is such a great idea and is going to be good for the industry and consumers, then why aren't you willing to pay for it? So as we continue to see developments in the energy areas, we see how good solar and wind and hydro are returning on our investments in those areas. I think we'll have a better understanding of whether or not we're going to have to revisit natural gas.
While it has been put to a stop, Algonquin will restart the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission process in late 2018 when the desired policy alignments are achieved. Fresh farm-grown vegetables, homemade skincare products, and Vermont maple syrup are just some of the items you'll find at the Franklin Farmers Market. This 15-year tradition brings customers and businesses from Franklin, Worcester, and surrounding states. The Franklin Farmers Market believes in bringing the community together with farm fresh foods. The supermarket just doesn't compare. With the help of Cynthia Garboski from Grateful Farms, we were able to learn more about what the vendors have to offer and how this year is different from the rest. Let's take a look. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how the farmers market got started and how long it's been around?
The market's been around for about 15 years or more. Someone else started running it, and then probably 10 years ago, they didn't want to do it anymore. My father-in-law stepped in. My father-in-law is Tim Garbowski. He owns and runs Grateful Farm in Franklin. And as of last year, I told him that I wanted to start working the farmer's market stand, and he was so busy that I ended up taking over the entire market. So as of last year, I started the market, and I've been expanding it. So we have a whole new layout this year. If you haven't been a long time, there's new vendors. It's a whole experience to be able to come here.
A lot of people come by here to take a look at the vendors and to shop around. Tell us what people can expect when they come by to shop.
We have a huge variety. One of the main requirements is they have some sort of farm-related aspect. But that can stretch into a lot of different things. This year we've welcomed the Big Biscuit Bakery from Franklin. They use all farm products in their dog biscuits. We have a local vendor that does candles and lotions and soaps. But again, they're using all oils and herbs in their products, so it relates back to farming. We also have, I think, 6 different farms from around New England that carry everything from vegetables and berries and fruits. And then we also have bread and honey, and we even have a winery now. So there's a large variety. We have a pottery location because, again, it's not a farm, but you got to use your bowls and plates somehow. So it all ties in somehow, but it makes it more of an experience to be able to come to the market and get more than just your fruits and vegetables. But it also makes people want to come here and help to support their local businesses and more than just farming. We work hard to grow the products that we have, and without the customers, we wouldn't be here. It's best to get local. You're going to get something fresher and better tasting than anything you can get from the supermarket. And we grow it with pride. We take care of all of our produce and all of our products, and we are happy to sell it directly to the customers. No middleman, no grocery stores, no long travel. It's come here and you're supporting your local farmers and your local community. We sell reusable grocery bags. It helps support the environment by having something that's reusable, but they're $5, and all of that money goes to the Franklin Food Pantry. So it's something that you can get a reusable grocery bag to use every time you come to the market or anywhere else that you're shopping, and it's helping the Franklin Food Pantry.
So we actually just tried this market on a whim last year. It ended up being a really awesome market. There's just a ton of people that come, a lot of regulars that come and buy from me multiple times a month, which is really cool that they go through that much maple syrup. And yeah, it just ended up being a really good fit for us. So I really like that it's not really close to the city, it's a bigger town, which is really nice, and there's a lot of people that support the farmers market, which is nice.
I hear this is your first time here at the Franklin Farmers Market, so what intrigued you to get involved?
Well, we're a new business. We just launched a few months ago, and we've been residents in Franklin for 5 or 6 years now, and we've always come to the market, and it was something that we just really wanted to get involved in. We wanted to get involved with the community, and so this was a good start.
And what is your goal to be here today and throughout the summer?
Just to have fun with it, really. We're trying to turn it into a more mainstream business, but for right now, it's just something that we're doing for fun out of our house. We both have normal day jobs that we kind of split the time with, but the eventual goal would to be, do some shows, do some craft fairs, and we'll be in Boston for a couple of shows too. So, but we really like just being a part of the community and working here at the farmers market.
Shop Franklin. So it's, again, supporting our small businesses. We wanted to make everybody welcome here and help. As a small business, as a farmer, I understand what it's like being a small business and trying to get the word out that you're there.
The Franklin Farmers Market will be open every Friday from 12 to 6 p.m. until October 27th. When you stop by, you are not only supporting your local and neighboring businesses, but also picking up the freshest foods around. It's a win-win. Technology has come a long way, but just like anything else, it has its pros and cons, especially when it comes to social media. There has always been controversy when it comes to this topic. Sites like Facebook and Instagram have allowed us to stay in touch with family and friends from around the world. And some claim social media brings us together. But is it really just pulling us apart? As a generation, followers, likes, and text messages have become more of a priority than human interaction. Our kids, teens, and adults would rather send a text message than call. And those handwritten letters, that's a thing of the past, thanks to email and Facebook walls. If we break down the numbers, we spend over 2 hours a day on social media. Over our lifetime, that's an astounding 5 years. Whether we're at a sporting event or a family dinner, we have become more interested with what's online than what's right in front of us. Call your friends, write someone a letter, or simply invite them out to coffee, because a face-to-face conversation is just good for the soul. This wraps up our 9th edition of Franklin Almanac. As we continue to bring you more stories, feel free to email us at almanac@franklin.tv and let us know what you'd like to see. We'd love to hear your story ideas for our next episode. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. For Franklin Almanac, I'm Polikseni Manxhari.